Hey folks, BirdDog John here. I want to go through a quick little tutorial about BirdDog Neuralyzer. Now, Neuralyzer is the program that we use to reset all of our cameras to factory default or the brand new 4K family line. So the 4K SDI, HDMI, or 4K quad will all talk to BirdDog Neuralyzer in final firmware. The key here is, though, that you really don't want to have to use Neuralyzer unless it's absolutely necessary. And the reason is because it's kind of a last resort type of item. You can use NDI analysis to find lost IP addresses that are broadcasting NDI on any subnet. I have a video on how to do that here on the knowledge database, so be sure that you check that out, because that's a much faster way of getting back to your camera than trying to do BirdDog Neuralyzer. Neuralyzer requires a fair bit of setup. Okay, so with that being said, we want to begin to set up to use BirdDog Neuralyzer. And so I'm going to show you my desktop, and we're just going to go over here. I'm going to open up Command Prompt, because I want to verify a couple of things as we go along with the process. So we go to start, we type in CMD, and we open Command Prompt apt, and it will put us here into the program. The next thing I want to do is I want to open up my control panel. So I'm going to click on start and type in control and click on control panel. And from here, if you're looking at the category view, you're going to hit network and internet. And if you're looking at the icon view, you'll hit network and sharing center, which is right here. And then we're going to say change adapter settings. All right, now my computer is going to look a little different because I've got lots of NIC cards. You might only have one or two. It's really important that you're using a Windows 10 machine with a physical NIC card, not a USB dongle. Use a physical NIC card. The reason is because USB dongles have driver requirements and a bunch of other algorithms and things that are going on that's converting network data to USB. And for most applications, that's fine. Doesn't work so well with Neuralyzer. So if you don't have a physical Ethernet card, find a computer that does have a physical Ethernet card. It's a great advocacy for having a real computer with actual physical ports on it so that you can use programs like this to help recover devices. So we've got Ethernet, we've got our Ethernet port, and the one that I'm using today is actually just called Ethernet, but I've got Ethernet, Ethernet 2, Ethernet 3, Ethernet 4, Ethernet 5, fiber, yada, yada, yada. Today I'm using Ethernet port that's labeled just straight up Ethernet or Ethernet 1. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is download Neuralyzer, which is from bird-dog.tv. Go over to support and click firmware, firmware updates, and then near the bottom of that screen, you'll see the program BirdDog Neuralyzer. Download it onto your screen or onto your computer, and then install the program with run as admin. Click on the little file that got downloaded, say run as admin. If you are the administrator on the machine, you may not need to do that, but for most cases, I need to just say that. Programs from BirdDog need to be installed as run as admin, and they need to be run that way as well. So here, I'm just going to look it up, find it, BirdDog Neuralyzer. Here it is, my downloads. Open up the program. You can run as admin right there. See, it's going to say, are you sure you want to run this as admin? And here is BirdDog Neuralyzer. Now, the select network adapter, we're going to drop that down. And you can see all of my active interfaces are sitting there currently. I'm going to say Ethernet and then hit reset camera. Okay, we'll get a little green check mark. Now I want to go to command prompt and type in ipconfig. And the reason I want to do that is I want to check and make sure that my Ethernet adapter named Ethernet is set to 192.168.100.123. Now here it didn't do that yet. It hasn't actually set it, and it's probably because there's no activity on that NIC card because it's currently disconnected. I can also check it. I don't have to use command prompt, but I can check it manually by double clicking on the Ethernet port, clicking on IPv4, double click, and here it is. This is the information I want to see. Neuralyzer has set this address for you, and so this is correct. Okay, 192.168.100.123 with subnet mask 255.255.255.0. That is correct. So I want to hit OK, OK, and leave that as is. Now, I'm going to boot up the camera, which is next. And you need to use the DC wall port to do this. So let me grab that power. It's on the floor. And physically plugging in power to the camera now. And you're going to see that happen because the Ethernet port here is going to become live. So there it is, unidentified, disconnected, unidentified. It's going to do that a time or two. Now we wait. And one of the things you can do is we can check that port now. We know that that's set to that. But one of the things you can do in command prompt is type in ping. So, ping 192.168.100.100 space dash T. This is a continual ping being sent from the computer to anything that responds back on 100.100. So we'll let the camera just power up, do its thing. It might take a minute or two to actually get through the entire boot sequence, and it may not work the first, second, or third time. And the reason for this is that we don't send the reset command every time it boots up, and so you might need to actually pull the power from the camera multiple times to get it to actually fire the boot up sequence. So we're gonna wait and see if it works on this time. But if we get a response from 100.100, what that is the web UI fell back to that fallback address, because that's what the default is for all of our cameras. And so we can probably get to the web UI with Chrome or something like that at that point. But we'll wait, we'll see what happens, and see if the camera is identified at all on this NIC card, and see if Neuralyzer can catch it. All right, so it is responding back at that address, which means that if I put that in here, 192.168.100.100, it takes me to the web UI of the camera. So I'm going to pull the Ethernet cable out, okay? And I'm going to plug that back in. I get a request timeout on command prompt. All right, so it is still there, still sitting at that address. So I'm going to pull the power. I'm going to get a request timeout, and we're going to run it again. Boot up sequence starts. Once you get request timeout, that means the computer doesn't see it at that address anymore, and it needs to reboot. We got a couple replies from 100.100. That's cool. Right away. Okay, so it fell back to that address pretty quick. There it is. Neuralyzer sees it, fired off the reset command, said this camera, last 5 is C8FF8. It's a P200 camera. It knows that. Network and user settings have been reset to default. Camera is now rebooting on your network. Okay, so Neuralyzer worked. And we can now close the timeout, and we can close BirdDog Neuralyzer because the camera is in reboot status, and we can see that here on control panel. We're currently booting up. So now what we want to do is we want to connect this camera to our NDI network. And if you're playing the game, the NDI game, you have an isolated NDI network with a DHCP and not static addresses and all that, but you have a real layer 2 switched network that has a DHCP that will issue an IP when it sees a new device come online. That's how it should be done, and I have one of those. And so we're going to disconnect the power from my P200. We're going to wait another 15 seconds. Did the little boot up dance. I'm just going to wait. Just want to make sure that that camera is done loading the first time. And then we're going to disconnect the power. I'm going to unhook the cable from my computer here on live, and then I'm going to plug it into my NDI network. Now, there are lots of ways to find NDI IP addresses on your network. I'm going to show you how to do that today with NDI analysis, which is a great little tool, but it'll help us find lost IP addresses of NDI cameras that are being broadcasted on your network. Okay, we're good. Power is disconnected. You can see that change on control panel. Here it is here. I'm going to follow my cable back to the back of my machine, and I'll be right back. Okay, I have a NDI PoE Plus switch. It's actually a Unify switch. It has a DHCP network connected to it, and it's going to boot up this camera now with PoE Plus power. It's no longer using this Ethernet card, so I don't need to see that anymore. And now I'm going to open up NDI Analysis, which is a program from ndi.tv/SDK, I believe. It's part of the SDK package. So NDI Analysis, and it looks a lot like command prompt. Pretty much it is. The cool thing here is we can just search for IP addresses of cameras on our network and find out what it was assigned. So here is the home screen. If you type in just ndianalysis.exe and hit enter, you're going to get this little dialog screen which shows you the few commands that this program can do. But this is all we need. So instead, I'm going to type in ndi, and then I'm just going to hit tab because I'm lazy. It's going to fill in analysis.exe space slash find, F-I-N-D, and then I'm going to say space slash time colon 20. So this will give me 20-second timer. And it's going to search my network for any available NDI sources that are on the network. You can also do this in Studio Monitor, but this is a cool little help support tool that I use that works pretty well on most scenarios. So give it another 3 seconds here. Let this come back. And here are my NDI sources. C8FF8 was assigned 192.168.1.18. So we're going to open a Chrome website, 192.168.1.18, enter, and look at that. The BirdDog Eyes P200 is here. Now we reset with Neuralyzer, which means that we went back to default password. So BIRDDOG, enter, and here's the dashboard. So dashboard, get out of here, LastPass. So dashboard shows that we're in DHCP mode. 1.18 is the correct IP address. Subnet mask is what my network is set to. BirdDog P200 3.3. Here's the serial MAC address that we use. It is embedding audio on a 1080p 60 NDI stream. Current status is active. Everything looks good. Everything is also reset. There shouldn't be any saved settings here. So all of this stuff sitting in DHCP mode, pulling all this correct information, can change the name if I want to, but all of this information is now reset and good to go. And I have access to my camera once again. Okay, that is how you use BirdDog Neuralyzer. It's not super difficult. That took us a grand total of 12 minutes, and we have full access to my camera again. Passwords are reset. There's no guessing as to what has to happen, and we can get this installed into my production. So thanks for hanging out. Hope this is helpful. Reach out to us at help@bird-dog.tv if you have any questions, or you need a little bit more help than what this video can provide. Reach us there at our support channel. We'd be happy to give you a hand. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.